Welcome back. It's Kovacs Report, and we're going to take a look at The Ultimates, issue 14 by Deniz Camp and Juan Frigeri. Now, this book for me hasn't been my favorite, but I'm on the book. I'm keeping the fires burning. I'm going to keep reading it so I can bring the reviews to you. So, before that happens, don't forget, I will be going through the book page by page, so there will be spoilers, of course. Please read the book beforehand if you don't want me to spoil it. Like the video if you like the video, and hit subscribe if you can. Now, the Ultimates, they decided that their efforts of building a super team to take on the Maker and the Maker's forces wasn't working, so they decided to enlist the help of the average Joe and Jane on the street. So they've sent out the word that anyone that needs training and educating can come to us, and you can join our force, and together through guerrilla tactics we can strike at the heart of these billionaire corporations that are supporting the Maker and ruining your life. So that's essentially where we are right now, and we've got Cap and a young Hawkeye scoping out a Roxxon facility. And Cap feels that something's not right. You know, maybe it's a trap. And he says, listen, we need to think about this before we can do anything. But of course, the impetuous Hawkeye decides, no, we're going in without even checking it all out, right? And he goes, I reckon we can clear this mess up in 20 minutes. It's in and out. We've done it 1,000 times before. Now we jump back to these billionaires, okay? Now these billionaires are obviously part of the Maker's sort of minions, let's say, and they're a little bit upset because these Ultimates have been causing a lot of trouble for their business. And they explain over the next few pages how the Ultimates have affected them, whether it's losing money or equipment or resources. They're just getting a little bit fed up and they need a solution to this problem. And old Rex Bonhurst here, fellow billionaire, he says he has a solution because he's hired someone to help. Now, before we can discover who that person is, we jump back to this battle where Hawkeye and Cap are making absolute mincemeat of these Roxxon goons. I mean, look at them. They're just falling down. They're being pushed over. They could have been blown on and they'd fallen off. And then we meet the ultimate version of Emma Frost, and this is who these billionaires have hired to sort out this Ultimates problem, right? And she is pretty cool. She has her telepathic powers and everything else that's going for her, and she says, listen, don't worry about it. My trap has already been sprung, and I'm going to telekinetically patch us in so you can follow what's going on, and I can instruct my operatives in the field. Two of my best, two of my strongest are out there, and they're going to deal with this problem of the Ultimates. And that's what happens. So we jump back to Cap and Hawkeye's patting himself on the back, and then suddenly Cap vanishes. Where's he gone? We don't know. She says, look really closely, and she slows it down. You can see that Pietro, yes, Quicksilver, has snapped him straight out of the area, taken him somewhere else, and thrown Cap to the ground as this version's Scarlet Witch appears to take on Hawkeye. Now, these two young children, because they are children, they start kicking the hell out of Hawkeye and Captain America. They are formidable, absolutely formidable. She uses her chaos magic to make things go wrong, and old Quicksilver here is trying to punch the hell out of Cap, and he's doing his best, his very best, to block the blows. And then Quicksilver punches the crap out of him back to where they started. Now, I don't understand, right? I mean, divide and conquer, but I don't know why he's brought him back. But he, for some reason, decides to punch him back to the other battle so two of them could fight together against the two of them. So it doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, old Hawkeye here, he's trying to take Scarlet Witch out, but every time he does something using her chaos magic, it all goes wrong, like the arrow misses or the string on his bow breaks. Anyway, Cap and Hawkeye are back together again, so now they're stronger together, right? But it doesn't look like they're going to be able to take these two down. And out of nowhere, Cap radios back to the rest of the team, says, blow the pipeline. So the ground crumbles, everyone falls to the ground, which gives Cap the moment of opportunity to knock the hell out of Scarlet Witch, and she goes down unconscious. But Pietro's not happy about this because he loves his sister, so he spins around and he starts punching the living hell out of Cap, and there's not much Cap can do about it. Oh dear. Anyway, Hawkeye decides it's time to fire some arrows and blow up this pipeline to create fire, because Cap has a plan. Now, Cap stands in the middle of Pietro, spinning around him, and suddenly just knows that he's moving at Mach 3, which means you can't hear anything I say. And he says, too bad. So he has this plan without any actual real information. He's guessing, right? He's taking a chance on this plan. Now, remember, these are children, right? And Cap's noted that they're children. So what he does is he decides once that oil spills out of this pipe, the heat that is being generated by Pietro is going to catch fire. So basically, and this is the only good part of this whole book for me, really, is how dark it gets in this panel where Pietro just bursts in flames from the heat and the oil mixing together. It's really, really dark. And Cap stands there and watches a child almost burn to death. It's a bit weird. Like, these are some really, really weird decisions that Cap would make, right? I mean, our Cap, if it was children, would probably do something very, very different. Although these two guys are trying to beat the hell out of him, he would think of something else because they are children. You know, maybe they've been brainwashed. Maybe they've been, I don't know, indoctrinated into something and they're just not in control of what they're doing. But no, his plan was to burn the child alive. Now, it also says that I knew that you wouldn't burn alive. He says, because your friction field will protect you from most of the heat, which is why you don't even bother to dodge it. He says, but all that fire is going to do is burn the oxygen out of your lungs. So how does he know it's not actually going to kill him and just burn enough to knock him unconscious? It's really, really strange leap of logic for Cap to make that decision to try and burn the oxygen out of this kid's lungs. Good idea, but it just doesn't make sense. He should have had someone, you know, in his earpiece going, I have an idea, this will work, but it doesn't. So Cap's taking a risk of killing some children here, and they both lie on their backs, captured. And then we jump back to this other person here who's masterminding some plot with Emma Frost. So we find out that basically she was also reading these billionaires' minds, and she discovered that they were plotting to overthrow the big squeeze himself. And she decided to fry their brains while they're there. You can see blood pouring out of our friend here. But she spares the lady. I forget who she is. She spares her because she decides that even though you were nursing fantasies of betraying us, you're creative, you've got a good mind, we can utilize you. And she's like, okay, cool. And then we get the 4 months remaining. So there we go. It's really, really bizarre. It's not a terrible issue, but it is fraught with just stuff that doesn't make sense to me. It really, really doesn't make sense. I don't know why Emma Frost had to make an example out of these billionaires. I think this is, again, an allegory to what's going on in real life, because everybody hates billionaires at the moment. And I think that a lot of what's going on in the real world is reflecting in this book. And it's taking me out of the fantasy of the comic book a little bit. I know I'm not going to mention names or current news stories, but there is this sort of ideology going around that it's okay to murder billionaires or people who are rich, and that's what's happened here. Now I know they're bad guys, but like, she could have done something else, right? She could have lobotomized them. She could have done anything. She could have controlled them. But no, we have to murder them. And this is the problem with this book, because there's too much of real world coming into it. You know, this is all about the power that billionaires have over America, have over the world, and have over us. And it's, again, forgetting the superhero fantasy here. What about the maker? Let's get to the maker, please. You know, we've got 4 months remaining. Let's see some step towards the maker. But there were some good parts of this book. I'll admit it. I like the idea that Wanda and Quicksilver are children because they've been manipulated, and that's a dark story. So that was a really, really good idea. I really did like that. And I like the idea of Emma Frost being that powerful that she can command, you know, her servants, her team members in the field, and project what's going on in the boardroom and read their minds and talk to her boss. So she seems very, very formidable. So I do like that. So there were some good points to this book, and of course there were some bad ones which I've highlighted, but there we go. Those are my thoughts. Please do let me know yours. And again, I know this is always topical when I talk about this specific book and people tend to hate me, but stop for a second and just explain why you think I'm wrong, why you liked it, why you think I could change my mind. Instead of just telling me I've got a bald head and I'm old, tell me why I'm wrong. And we'll open up a discussion and talk about the book, because that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to talk about comics. Anyway, like the video if you like the video, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.